This episode contains material that may be triggering to some individuals. Please check the show notes for more information and be mindful of your own mental health and comfort levels. I'm so excited to tell you about Inclusive Neuroverse, a small business founded by an amazing 7-year-old with autism and ADHD. Their goal? To spread awareness and acceptance of neurodiversity through their unique apparel and accessories, all designed with love by their founder. Most elements are hand-drawn and crafted to celebrate and uplift the neurodiverse community. Show your support by visiting inclusiveneuroverse.com. Don't forget to use code QUIETCONNECTION, all one word, all uppercase, at checkout for a 15% discount. Let's make a difference with every purchase. Welcome to Quiet Connection, a podcast dedicated to ending the stigma around postpartum mental health. I'm Chelsea. Today, I'm joined by Tianna Trinidad, a PCOS warrior, entrepreneur, and advocate for women's health. Tianna's journey into motherhood hasn't been easy. From experiencing pregnancy loss to navigating postpartum mental health and building a business while raising children, she's faced challenges that many parents can relate to. So whether you're in the thick of postpartum struggles, healing from loss, or just looking for a little bit of connection, this conversation is for you. Let's dive in. Hello, today I'm here with Tianna. Tianna, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We were just talking off camera about how it's Monday morning and our energy levels aren't quite matched, but I'm going to try to leech some of that energy from you and maybe leave feeling a little more energized than I am right now. But I'm really excited to chat with you and to connect with you. One of the first things I like to do is I like to have my guests introduce themselves, tell us a little bit about who you are today and who you were before you became a parent.
Okay, so today I am founder of Love Surf Form. My name is Tianna Trinidad. I help busy, high-achieving women with PCOS lose weight, fix their cycle, and get their body baby ready. I take a lot of pride in what I do. I consider myself like a philanthropist, very silly, outgoing, and just a girl's girl. That's who I am now. Before I became a parent, I think that I was a totally different girl. I think that I was very innocent in my way of thinking. I think that I also thought that 25, 30 was adulthood. And that you had it all together by then.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, not exactly, right? Before I had children, I think I was very carefree. I didn't have a care in the world. I didn't understand what it felt like to walk with your heart outside of your body and hoping and it's just I don't think I've had a full night of sleep since becoming a mom. It's just I've gone to nursing school, I've gone to law school, I've done some really amazing things, and nothing was as challenging and as rewarding as becoming a mom to two amazing children on the spectrum that they just make my life worth living. So I don't even know if I was lifing before. I think I was just going through life on default, right?
Yeah.
And it's changed so much since I've become a parent. I have a mission. I have something to wake up for. I have someone to serve every day. It just has changed my life in ways I can't even describe.
Yeah, I love that. I love some of the descriptors you used too. Like, I wasn't even lifing before. I've said it so many times. It's like I'm 36 and I'm still looking for the adult in the room. Like, where is the person who has all of their stuff together? Because it's certainly not me. Like, oh my gosh, I love it. Yeah, you are that high achieving like go-getter, and now you're using that to sort of help other women and moms, and I love that. I think that's amazing.
And I think that the success loses its appeal when you become a mother. It's kind of like, it's not that you lose the desire for success. It's just that you realize that there's 24 hours in the day, and to achieve certain things means that you have to sacrifice in other places. And as hungry as I was for success before, um, I kind of allow it to just happen as it will, as I intentionally enjoy these moments that I know I will never get back again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a beautiful way to look at it. And it's a lesson in acceptance too. You have like accepting that, yeah, there are 24 hours in a day, and I don't always get to fill them with exactly what I want to, but I get to cherish the moments that I do have. So I love that. I think that's amazing. Um, were kids always part of your life plan?
Oh my God, this is embarrassing. Nobody's ever asked me this question before. I was like 12 years old with a babysitter certificate. I don't know if you remember the babysitter movie.
I had the same thing. Yes. You took the course, like the Red Cross course. Yes.
I always knew it was just something that was deeply ingrained in me from young. I had a pet hamster, eventually a dog. I took the babysitter's course. I just always knew. And because of that knowing, I never questioned that it wouldn't happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
I never even, that's why I say, like, before children, I never, even as a labor and delivery NICU nurse, I didn't think about miscarriage, pregnancy loss, infertility. It just wasn't a thought in my head. I was just like, I'm set out to be a mom. I'm going to be married one day. I'm going to have kids, and I'm going to have this fairy tale ending. And unfortunately, my story just didn't work out that way.
Yeah. I mean, and a lot of the time for a lot of us, that's how it goes. And that's why we're here. That's why we're talking about it, because we don't want anyone, and I don't want anyone to have that sense. I mean, obviously you're going to have that grief, and you're going to have that sense of um just missing maybe what you thought the fairy tale was. But hopefully if we're talking about it more, you can prepare yourself in the event that your story does not play out exactly the way that you thought it would. So I appreciate you coming on, and I appreciate you talking to us about this. um and in that vein, following that vein, let's talk about it. Let's talk about your journey into parenthood. You are a PCOS warrior as well as a PCOS coach. How did that impact your journey into parenthood?
So I always knew that there was like a history of something going on in the family. But again, there was a lot of innocence in my youth. I just thought that as Hispanic women got older, they got rounder. I just thought that it was genetics, it was just a way of life. And I honestly expected it for myself. My mom, I was her only child, and she tried her whole life, but she only had one fallopian tube, partial ovary. It was not really a chance for her to get pregnant. And then I turned 18, and she found herself pregnant. And she had all these reservations of why she shouldn't carry out this pregnancy, but I knew it was her dream. And I told
Mm.
her, I won't go away to college. I'll go to a local community college if you have that baby. Why don't we do it? And she did it. And the pregnancy was just very volatile from the beginning. At 16 weeks, she was hospitalized in reverse Trendelenburg, which means she was upside down in an attempt to preserve her cervix, take the weight off of the cervix. She had to eat, sleep, shower upside down
Oh my
for 6
gosh.
weeks. By 22, 23 weeks, she her water broke in the middle of the night with a baby incompatible with life,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
And so they saved the baby, and the baby just kept surviving. She passed a 48-hour honeymoon, and a year and 10 days later, we brought her home from the hospital for the first time, just to tell you how long that
Wow.
stint was.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I don't really know what I wanted to do with my life, something in service. But shortly after she came home, we had an accident where we lost light for some time. She was on trach, a lot of oxygen. She had a lot of needs, and we lost oxygen for over 10 minutes. It was a major event, and I was really young and naive, and I did some crazy things to save her life that day. Things that I probably wouldn't do now that I'm a mom, but just just felt right in that moment. And when the hospital got wind of what I did to save her life, I was awarded with a $40,000 scholarship to become a registered nurse.
Wow.
And I went straight into NICU. I went straight into NICU because that's where I spent all my time. I went straight into it, and it was everything. I thought I was superhuman. I thought because of my experience with my sister that they just didn't have enough belief that I could tell people about my experience, and every baby would survive because I was here now.
Yeah.
And I learned quickly that that was not the reality, and that it didn't matter what I did, that some babies were just not compatible with life and some of them just didn't. And with that knowledge, I moved on. I, went to get married, and I was ready for my baby. And I was like, okay, this is the time. And I started to have complications, and they were just like, it's all in your head. You work in the NICU, you have this situation with your sister, you are young, not overweight, like you're perfect. And on December 26th, I remember driving an hour away to a different hospital because I wanted a different opinion. And in the wee hours after Christmas, and I discovered that my baby had no heartbeat.
Mm.
And the events that transpired over that with the laws about abortion and miscarriage, and I was forced to carry the pregnancy until December 31st because I couldn't find a place that would recognize that I had lost a pregnancy and that my body didn't recognize that my cervix was still closed. And so I went through that 2-day procedure in a clinic that wasn't, I didn't know enough. And it was a very traumatic experience. And I spiraled. I gained weight. I was depressed. I couldn't go back to work. I felt like everyone could see me, like I was an imposter. Like they would say, "Where's your belly?" And I would
Mm-hmm.
have to explain how I lost the pregnancy, but yet I'm still here trying to save yours. And it destroyed me. And I think that I lost myself for some time because the other thing that people don't talk about is that women and men grieve very differently.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was grieving very out loud, my husband was grieving very silently. And that interpreted to me as he didn't care, as he couldn't see my worth anymore because I was a wife who couldn't conceive. And it broke me in ways that I just couldn't communicate. And I was so angry with God. I was so angry because I'm like, I'm such a good person. I've done so much. How could you do this to me? And I remember one day just being like, okay, well, maybe if I pray for some peace, maybe if I pray, because I was just in so much pain, and I got the peace. And then I
Mm-hmm.
said, oh, I'm going to be really bold here. What if I pray to become a mom again? Like, because doctors had told me, like, you'll likely never become a mom. I'd had an
Mm.
irregular period my whole life. My progesterone levels were off. I had spent $20,000 in doing an autopsy, genetic testing. I needed to know, like no one's business, what I needed, the lengths that I went to get answers, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember making this promise on the bathroom floor one day in the middle of the dark, just like, God, if you make me a mom, if you tell me what to do, I will take so many women along the way with me. And slowly but surely, I went back to the OB one day and I was pregnant. Very
Mm-hmm.
shortly after, I was pregnant. And I remember them telling me, don't get too attached. It's only 4 weeks. The heartbeat is very, and I just had this overwhelming faith. And I won't say that that made it any less difficult because there was like a blur between the loss of one pregnancy and the start of the other to where mentally I wanted the baby out. I needed to see the baby. It almost felt like I was holding my breath the whole entire time that I was pregnant. And it wasn't until the baby was delivered and put into my arms that I could finally exhale. He's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
And that experience forever changed me. It matured me in ways that I didn't know I need to be matured. As a young nurse who had never been pregnant, I couldn't understand the plight of a woman who had gestational diabetes. I couldn't understand if you knew you had diabetes, why is your family coming in with Dunkin' Donuts?
Right.
Until I was 7 months pregnant, gestational diabetic, totally not listening to doctor's advice, having to prick myself after every meal, needing insulin, and I could understand. And then I won't say that I was grateful for the experience, but I will say that it taught me about humanity. It taught me that sometimes the universe allows you to experience loss and grief so that you can know how to hold space for other people. And from that perspective of, I got a test so that I could have a testimony. I went through this
Mm.
experience through the dark so that I could hold the light for someone else. I started to build my business, and I knew that I knew that I wanted people to feel love. I knew I wanted to be the missing link in healthcare. And I named my business Love Surf More because I felt like that's what we're missing in this.
Yeah.
We're missing to be loved, to be seen, to be served.
Yes.
And it's been such a crazy journey, but I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so grateful
Yeah.
for like the opportunity to share my story and to connect with other women who may have gone through the same or may go through the same one day.
Mm-hmm. So much of what you said resonated. And this is coming, like, I have not experienced loss. Like, I have not experienced a miscarriage. I have not experienced pregnancy loss, but still, and this is the power of connection and this is the power of story sharing. Like, so many things that you brought up resonated with me. And like I say all the time, and if you listen to the podcast, you know, like, I don't believe in silver linings. I don't like that term, like, because to me it feels like putting a shiny gloss over a really bad situation and saying like, that happened, but this is good. So, right? Like, but saying that, oh, I love all the terms that you used too. Like, you went through a test so you would have a testimony, right? Um, that resonates very deeply with me. And I also just want to acknowledge like the power and the passion behind hearing you talk about what you're doing now, because what you went through is unimaginable. It's unimaginable for anyone who has never experienced it. And I say that as someone in that position. And I'm also so thankful that you brought up the experience of your partner, your husband during that time, because I do hear so often like the focus, especially with pregnancy loss or child loss, the focus is on mom, and it should be, but the focus also, there's another parent involved. There's another parent that experienced loss. How did you sort of navigate that to get to the point where you realize like, oh, it's not that he thinks that I'm failing at this. He's just grieving in a different way that I am.
I think it definitely took time, and it took for, I won't take any of the credit, right? I felt like there was a point where I felt like I was shunned to speaking my
Mm.
truth, where my family was like, everyone doesn't need to know that you suffered a loss. Like it was some sort of blemish to
Mm-hmm.
us, you know? And so initially, there was a lot of conflict. I want to make that very clear to anyone listening. There was, because I felt like I was not being heard. I was not being seen in my most critical moment. But then with time and space and resources, I was able to take a step back and to evaluate the situation as a whole and just speak with other people. And I think that that is the gift of community.
Mm-hmm.
Of connecting with other people who have had similar issues. And also my experience as a NICU nurse, I can tell you from experience that every time there is a special needs child or a child born with any disabilities, the friction is almost immediately. I want to say like 8 out of 10 times. It's very rare that you see a couple who can kind of go through that adversity unscathed.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that, I just really made the decision to fight for my marriage, right? Fight for, because I understood that he was hurting too, and that in his hurting, it wasn't going to look like my hurting.
Mm.
And the way that he grieved wasn't going to look like the way that I grieve. So I had to remove judgment so that I could develop some sort of empathy for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like when I got to that place, things shifted very quickly because we were sharing the same wound. So we were connected. We were just grieving in different ways that made each of us feel disconnected. But ultimately, we were grieving the same wound.
Yeah. I'm curious too, because you said like even after that and when you did get pregnant again, like you were in a pretty dark place. Were because of your profession and because of well, even let's backtrack a little bit. Had you had any experience with mental health disorders prior, like with or experiencing depression or anxiety prior to this?
Yes and no. I don't think that the depression, I had dealt with depression and anxiety before. Um, I don't think that it can compare. I don't think that even the word depression is ill-fitting at trying to describe that feeling that you have when your dream that you've held since a little girl, is violently snatched away from you in
Mm-hmm.
such a way. It's just there's just no words for that.
Yeah, it's a completely different experience. And the reason that I ask that question is because I'm curious if you like, did you know what kind of resources were available, or were there resources available in terms of addressing your needs? Like, I don't know if therapy was not something that you talked about. I don't know if you had a strong support network within your friends and family. Like, were you how did you sort of navigate that territory?
I think that is such a good question. There is this Whitney Houston song that goes, "Where do broken hearts go?" And
Mhm.
that was like my soundtrack because I initially took 6 weeks off of work and I got a call back to come back. And I came back and HR ripped the bereavement from under my feet, telling me that my pregnancy loss wasn't recognized as a loss. And they asked me to make a plan to pay back my bereavement.
Oh my
I
gosh.
thought about it for some time before quitting on my lunch break and
Yeah.
never returning. Prior to that, I want to be very honest that I think that I was just very young and self-centered. I won't say that I was an amazing nurse, but I was very, very young and self-centered. I didn't give one second thought to where were these moms of broken hearts going after the pregnancy losses or after delivering babies were incompatible with life. And
Mhm.
we would do the whole, different religions couldn't accept um, anything from the baby. I remember having and so in those situations, I would try to give it to an aunt or a family friend, and I would say, please just hold it because the hospital would throw it away for one day. She'll look for it, right? A lock of hair. Whatever
Mhm.
I could find from the baby, we would piece it together and right. And I sent these moms home. I never really gave it a second thought. And but when I had my pregnancy loss, that was all I could think about. It was like, okay, so where do I go now? And I was so prepped. I was like, okay, like where I'm ready to pick up the pieces. And I was shunned into silence. It was like, we don't talk about that.
Mm.
Women don't talk about that. We don't, there's no support groups. We're just quiet about it. And
Mhm.
I remember trying initially and I just couldn't. It was like a wound that it just kept seeping. No matter how much I tried to pat it. And I just remember thinking like, how can this be life? And I remember my aunt, just family members sharing their losses. And it was kind of like something very taboo, something that we don't talk about. And I remember I'm going to the OBGYN with my mom for a checkup. And I was just disconnected to say the least. And I remember my mom going with her and my mom telling the doctor, look at her. You think she's okay. She's not okay. You need to give her something. The shock of this situation has her very quiet, but when it hits her, she's going to break. And I remember them saying, okay, we can do Prozac, Xanax, like what do you want? But my mom was kind of seeking something different. And to answer your question, there was no outlet. There was
Mm.
no place to go. There was no class to take, no nutrition, how to get myself back to a place where I could even consider becoming a mom. And that's when I knew that the work that I do now was so important. I knew that I had to create a space and talk specifically to these women. Um, you know, I help women become baby ready, whether it's your dream now or it's your dream in 10 years. Learn to identify the signs that your body and your hormones are not functioning properly. And even if you don't want to get pregnant, understand how your reproductive health has an effect on your overall health, on your mental health. Even if
Mm-hmm.
babies are not even something that you have in mind for your lifetime, as women, this information has been kept in the dark from us for far too long. And the wrong companies have been profiting off of it for too long. And so I really wanted to be the gap that I felt like I saw in healthcare and just in life. And back when I was doing this, it's been about 8 years, there weren't many PCOS coaches, weren't
No.
now I'm so happy to see the conversation is moving in a positive way. But there just wasn't. So I extended grace and tried to create the resources that I needed the most.
Yeah, that is such a common thread in so many women and mothers that I speak with, especially those of us who have kids who are a little bit older now. We talk about how, like, lately we're seeing this influx in people talking about these things. And when I say lately, I mean really just like the past 2 or 3 years. Is it really becoming like an okay thing? You're seeing it on social media and you're hearing about it on podcasts, or you're seeing it in TV shows. But prior to that, I mean, mental health has always been stigmatized, but like women's health and women's reproductive health and perinatal and postpartum mental health, you just didn't talk about it.
Absolutely.
You didn't talk about it. And so many people that I've had the privilege to meet through Quiet Connection are saying, like, yeah, that didn't sit with me. And it did. It made us kind of step into our power and be like, I'm going to talk about it. I don't care. I don't care about the stigma, or I care, but like, we're going to push past that and we're going to talk about it, because this is happening, and this is happening way more frequently than we're realizing. And there's no reason for any of us to feel like we're alone in this at
Yeah.
all.
One of my favorite quotes is until you make the unconscious known, it will rule your life and you will call it fate.
Mm.
And I feel like so many women are victim to capitalism, to healthcare. It's like you're never thin enough. You're never, and we're fighting against, right? And I don't want to go too deep in this, but there's the whole Ozempic trend, right? Everyone's on
Yep.
Ozempic, and there is a company that is looking to genetically modify the food so that Ozempic is no longer an issue because the processed food companies are losing too much money.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we look at it as this way, it's just like as we become more knowledgeable, we're fighting against corporations who are working as a devil's advocate, to say, for a lack of better words. And so we've got to become so good at being at body literacy and body advocacy, because otherwise we allow someone else to shift the narrative, right? To say you're
Yep.
just lazy, you're just eating too much, you're just is it really that we're lazy, or is it that food companies have removed fiber from our foods, right? And this is why so many young women are dying from colon cancer rates that are astronomical, right? It is because we're prioritizing profit over people. Our healthcare
Mm-hmm.
system is reactive instead of being proactive,
Mm-hmm. Oh
right?
my
And I
God.
feel like it's systematized at this moment. It's almost we can almost expect, we can almost follow the money, follow the trail, and so we're just in very difficult and uncertain times.
Mm-hmm. So, oh my gosh, so many of the things that you're talking about are big impact. And who are they impacting? They're impacting people who identify as female, people who were assigned female at birth, people who just birthing people, or people with uteruses. We are being targeted. And not only this spins into another rabbit hole, but so not only is it harder to get pregnant, it's harder to stay pregnant, and then we're told not to talk about it, but then our access to proper prenatal care and postpartum care is just not there. So it's like, what is even happening? So beyond that, so while we got fired up, let's keep walking down your path. And so now you find yourself pregnant again. You had mentioned earlier, like, it was hard to enjoy that pregnancy because you needed to tangibly know that baby was okay. What sort of things were you experiencing through that pregnancy? Like, I'm assuming there had to be a big amount of anxiety.
Okay, they had this Doppler available on Amazon where you
Oh
could check
boy.
the baby's heartbeat. We were locked in.
Yeah.
It almost became, and I can say this now, an unhealthy obsession to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the baby's heartbeat was beating all the time, especially in moments where I couldn't feel him moving for some time.
Mm-hmm.
Especially adding on becoming diabetic, gestational diabetic, and just having all these hormonal fluctuations. Um, it was very hard to be emotionally attached to the pregnancy. I almost felt like I was grieving the loss of it while I was still pregnant, almost to like offset the potential that I might give birth to a stillborn, right?
Mm.
So I was trying to like not be, for my first pregnancy, everything I got for Christmas was for Logan. Everything. I didn't want
Mm-hmm.
anything. I wanted everything for my baby. I mean, I had dreamed of this day from the Babysitters Club, you know?
Yeah.
And losing him on December 26th, I couldn't even look at the things. I asked my mom to give it away to someone expecting, just put it all in a trash bag and give it to someone. I wasn't interested in looking, going through anything. And so the second pregnancy, I just didn't feel like I could enjoy it like that. Like I could ask people to buy me things, like I could really anticipate anything much. And even in my delivery pictures, my face was pure disbelief. It's
Mm.
like I was like so I saw like a miracle. It's like if I was in a desert and I had saw a mirage of water. I was in like and he had my eyes and the moment that I connected, I saw my eyes. I can get emotional. It was just a moment. I looked, I saw my eyes, I saw my nose. I knew in that moment I was okay. I was gonna bring him home. My prayer was fulfilled and maybe he hadn't won the war, but the battle that day was won. And he has forever, like I have my daughter as well, but my son, he healed wounds. He didn't. I mean, he is just like so special.
Yeah.
He is like love personified.
Yeah.
And not only me, people can see his light. I feel like people gravitate towards him. People have asked me, does he ever meet a stranger? I'm like, actually, we don't.
No.
I even mentioned I pulled him out of, 2 weeks ago, I pulled him out of school. I'm homeschooling him now. He just has this, he's just such a joy to be around. And I try to let him know every day that he is a gift. He's my gift. He's my reason for living. He's my reason for breathing. When I had no desire to move forward, God gave me him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a feeling I only wish to help other women know one day. That
Yeah.
feeling.
Yeah. Um, I think it's important. It's so important to talk about those things, especially like like you said, like it wasn't winning the war, but that battle was won. Because a baby doesn't replace a baby. Just like right, like you are always you were a mama from the day you conceived your first child, and you'll always be his mama. Um, but and again, another taboo subject is pregnancy after loss and childbirth after loss. Like it's okay to feel two things at once. It's okay. It's more than okay. It's the fact that you were so connected, so in love, so healed, and you can still grieve and acknowledge and love and cherish your first child as well. Like both things are true. Both things can be true.
Absolutely.
And I think that I'm so grateful that you had that experience once he was born. I don't by any means minimize the experience of your pregnancy because that's such a long time to go through the just being afraid all the time. But I'm so thankful that his birth was so healing for you. what were those first few weeks like? That what we call the fourth trimester, which I don't know if postpartum ever really goes away, but like, what were those first few weeks like for you?
Oh, I can't even express in words what that joy felt like. It almost felt like it was a joy too big for my spirit to contain.
Mm.
You know, if I can express it in that way, it was just every milestone was celebrated every week, every month. We had a halfway to one birthday party. I think that the experience was magnetized because I previously thought it was an experience I would never have
Hmm.
after wanting it for so bad. And I felt like that made me enjoy it so much more, like savor. Savor the experience that much more. Um, I didn't go back to work. I went full time with Love Surf Warm, and I didn't want to miss a step. I didn't want to miss him. I'm still in love. And I know
I can feel it.
yeah, some people say, like, oh, you feel that way when they're kids. That goes away. It's never gone away. He's 8 years old, and there's nothing that I dream of. I wish for more than to hear about how his day was when he got out of school. I want to cook his breakfast every morning and leave him notes in his lunchbox. Like, motherhood has been, I don't even know. It's just been something out of this world.
Yeah.
And from the first day that he came till now that he's 8 years old, it has been an absolute,
Yeah.
like a dream that sometimes I'm still like, what did I do to deserve such an amazing kids both, but I'm just like, like this is life. This is, you know, um,
Yeah.
I am creating someone else's husband. I'm
Yeah.
raising someone else's dad. I'm raising my contribution to society.
Hmm.
And that's something I don't take lightly.
No, I don't. I don't for a second doubt that. I feel your passion and I feel your love and yeah, I'm just, again, I say I'm so grateful that that's the experience that you're experiencing. And this seems like such a small question now, but obviously, like, feeling so grateful for your son and feeling like this is my path. Like, when did the decision become like, okay, I think I'm ready to try again?
So if we're honest, I tried again and I had a miscarriage when I tried again. So then and it was a second trimester miscarriage. So we were and then when it happened, honestly, we weren't trying. I wasn't in the mood. I wasn't in the mindset to try.
Mm-hmm.
Something that just happened. And I was honestly like so I was just really surprised when I found out I was pregnant. And it was during COVID, right before COVID. I
Mm-hmm.
delivered in the height of COVID,
Mm.
okay, where the hospital didn't have masks. We were under military lockdown. It was wild. But in retrospect, I will say she's everything I didn't know I needed.
Mm.
She has taught me about femininity, about being a woman, about taking up space.
Mm.
She has me and my son, we're very much overcompensating. We're people pleasers and stuff. And she has warped our world. She is like the perfect mix. She challenges me every single day. And she is just everything I didn't know I needed.
Yeah.
I think like how would me and Anthony be without we would be like this, I don't know, but she's brought a paintbrush into our life and she's painted us with these vivid colors and it was just alignment. It was
Yeah.
just
There's something about those second children. There is, I mean, again, it's stereotyping and it's cliche, but there is just something about those second born children that they are built different. um my kids are 7 years apart. So my oldest is 9 and my youngest will is closer to 3. She's a little over 2.5, but same thing. Like, holy baloney, the energy that child brings into the dynamic, and the willfulness, and like you said, like showing me how to take up space and not making myself small, and like and she's still so little, but like but those second kids, they just they come at you, and you don't expect what they're bringing, and holy cow, holy cow.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so you've got 2 kids now, and then you've got this baby, which is your third baby, which is your business, Love Served Warm, which I absolutely love that name, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like comfort. Um, just hearing it feels like comfort. I want to kind of get into it a little bit, because number one, it's not easy to start a business in general. Number two, it's not easy to start a business as a mom, especially as a stay-at-home mom. But your passion and your drive, like this was your calling. And you stepped up to that. What did that look like? What kind of supports did you have in place? Like, how did Love Served Warm form?
Yeah. I want to be really honest that I don't have the family dynamic, and I think that kind of comes from being a special needs mom. You know,
Mm-hmm.
when my mom gave birth to my sister, that kind of eradicated the family. You know, people
Mm.
have different beliefs about, and that can kind of, I think that most special needs parents would agree that it's kind of isolating, and that,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that your community kind of like disperses, um, partially because maybe they don't know how to deal with what you're experiencing. So I won't say that there was community, but what I will say was that, and I know it sounds woo woo, but there was this divine guiding light. There was this, I would pray and I would be like, I wanna, and I'm talking, and this is so crazy because my grandmother never made it past third grade. My mother came to the US at the age of 14. I'm the first generation American. Okay. We were on welfare, food stamps. Like we didn't come from that background. I don't know anyone who even ever started a business before. Like, what does a business owner look like? Are they
Yeah.
like someone rich? Do they come from outer space? Like, it just wasn't my everyday reality. My grandmother worked cleaning offices until well after her retirement. But I remember buying my first book, Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm kind of understanding. You've got to like have, and then I remember just praying and just being guided to the right places. I won't even like, I started to get scholarship. I would apply, I would get like entrepreneur scholarship to here. Someone would agree to free coach me for a testimonial here, this book, that book. Before I knew it, with a very little, like I think back on it now and I'm like, how there you could never take the credit, Tianna, and I will never. It was
Mm.
all divine intervention. I mean,
I
I
mean, you put in the work, Tianna. You put in
I
the
do,
work.
but like I don't want to get. I'm very spiritual, and I don't want to get
Mm-hmm.
too. But like there was a story of people who were like in the woods for 40 years on a trip that only took 3 days, right? Because of their inability to be obedient. And so you can be doing the work. And a lot of people confuse movement with progress,
Mm.
right? And so was I doing the work? Absolutely. But me doing the work didn't necessarily mean that I would advance anywhere because I've done the work alongside many women and they're still in the same place. While
Mm-hmm.
my post just hit 7 million views up to this morning, we're at 7 million.
Yeah.
So I do think that there is a divine alignment, that there
Mm-hmm.
is a way to do things that some people can have a connection and they can almost like get a shortcut to success, while other people may be doing things of their own accord and take them much, much longer. So
Yeah.
while I always say, yes, I did the work, I hate saying that because I feel like it discredits other people who do the work and don't get the same results because doing the work doesn't guarantee the success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, mom brain. Do you ever have that moment where it feels like someone shut all the tabs? That just happened to my
All the time, all the time.
oh
Um,
my God.
I
That
recently
just happened.
I recently learned that neurodivergent brains, the axis, right, in neurotypical brains, when they realize you don't need one, it kind of fizzles off and dissolves. But in
Mm-hmm.
neurotypical brains, all of our axis stay active. Even if we haven't used it in 10 years, it never goes. So when you have a thought and it kind of like disappears, it's because our brain stem is so diverse that it just, just kind of like disappears.
Yeah, oh, that sums up my entire family so well. Uh, my my husband and I joke all the time. We're like, oh wow, we passed on both of our children our most neurospicy genes. Like, sorry kids, sorry, but at least. So if we're on this topic, like, I don't know if this will resonate with you, but like, we feel, because we were raised very differently. Obviously, our generation was raised very differently. And the whole idea of not being neurotypical and being neurodiverse, it just wasn't as widely as accepted. So we were labeled the dramatic children and the kids who just everything was a big deal, and you're so emotional and you're so this and you're so that. And so I'm like, we're not doing that with our children. Like, we're like, no, I know exactly what you're feeling right now, and it's not comfortable and it's not okay, and we're gonna walk through this together.
Absolutely.
um but yeah, that was a tangent. Just to say that my neurospicy brain just shut down all the tabs, but I think I got a couple of them back open.
Good.
so let's dig in a little deeper, just so that my listeners get an idea of what it is you're doing today. Not only are you an amazing mom to two amazing children, who is now taking on homeschooling, which, hello, badass. Like, that is, I'm thinking about doing it, and it's a big responsibility. Wow. Um, how is Love Served Warm serving your community? What does that look like these days?
I think that through me living my life authentically, that love, serve, warm, serve my community,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's through me. I often preach, I live the life that I sell, right? I think that there are so many like people that are like selling content or selling, trying to teach you a way of life and not living that life. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, I've lost over 60 pounds. I was diabetic. I'm only 125 pounds. And we let me show you how I make my kids gummy bears, sugar. Let me show you how we live a different life, how we have created a lifestyle out of what needs to be changed so that you can have the results that you want. And I feel like just me living is a protest in itself. Can I say that?
Yes, you
Me
can.
and my kids living our lives as neurodivergents, right, is a protest in itself amongst in a
Mm-hmm.
world of neurotypicals. And us living our truths authentically is service,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
From the way that we organize, like we don't out of sight, out of mind. So we don't put anything away where we can't see it because it'll be gone forever, right?
Yep.
We've literally shifted our lifestyle in this way, and I feel like when people see us living our lives authentically and they see that we do it with tenacity, with joy, that it serves them. Part of the problem is seeing that it's possible for you, right? And so just by living our lives authentically and people seeing what's possible for them, it gets to be easy. We don't eat salads all the time, kale salads all the time and kale smoothies. We're actually living, enjoying life. We just do it a little bit differently. It gets to show them what's possible. And that in itself is service, because I don't believe that the same day that you plant the seed is the day that you get to enjoy the shade from the tree,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I am okay with doing the work. I'm okay with planting the seeds. I'm okay with opening up my life and letting people see that, yeah, I'm homeschooling now. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm a full time entrepreneur, and it is absolutely possible. And let me tell you the ways in which I organize my time, I deal with my mindset, and I deal with my emotional health so that I can continue to make it happen.
Yeah. That leads perfectly into one of my biggest questions is, how do you maintain your mental health and your needs while also juggling your business and your children's needs? What are the ways that you find joy and fill your cup?
Yeah. So as a Cancer, we enjoy time by the water. I think
Mm,
that I live in South Florida. You can always find me by the water. Even if I can't necessarily get inside, I'm always by the water. But to sum that up, I just think that one, communicating my needs is extremely important. And I
mm-hmm,
communicate them to my children, and I encourage my children to communicate their needs back to me. One of the things that I stress in this house is that no one will be able to meet you with your needs if you're unable to communicate them. So that
mm-hmm.
is very big to me. I don't deal with the tantrums. Why are you upset? And if you are upset, you're dignified, and I may not see why you're upset, but if you feel it, that's okay. So that's one of the ways I'm very good at communicating my needs to my children. Sometimes I might need to step to the car and just sit in the car, and I'm looking at the door from the car. I know that they're okay. They have cameras. I have cameras in the house, but I may need 2 minutes so that I don't react to them in a way that I will regret and have to scream. I have to apologize for later, right?
Yeah.
And it's also being very vocal about when I need to fill my own cup. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I am doing this course called The Artist Way. It's a book about like creativity, and it involves like having a date with yourself for 2 hours every week.
Oh,
And I feel like
wow.
that too is a protest of just
Yes.
like spending 2 hours a week by myself doing what I like the most.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been transformative, right? Because
I
I
love
think
that.
that not only for myself, but for other women, I'm not going to say mothers, I'm going to say just our caregivers, right? Because I feel like there are aunties who are mothers in their own right. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
those women, and we know who they are, they're the caregivers of our society. They are usually known for pouring into spaces that don't have the capacity to pour back into them.
Mm-hmm.
And with that knowledge, I am just very gentle about where I pour out my energy into, almost like an alchemist, knowing that I am most powerful when it's reserved for me. When
Mm-hmm.
I am at my best, my house benefits from it. And it took me a long time to realize that my house doesn't benefit when I'm pouring from an empty cup.
Yeah. And you've said it so many times, but that is a form of protest. Self care is a form of protest. Rest is a form of protest. Protecting your peace so that you can be your best self is so powerful. So powerful. I am so jazzed. I said at the beginning of this that I was hoping that I could like pull some of that energy from you, and oh my goodness. Like you speaking with you has filled me with joy and empowerment, and I'm definitely not as exhausted as I was an hour ago. um so thank you for sharing some of your magic and your glimmers with me. Um I think I always wrap up with one of two questions, and I think the one I'm going to ask you is, oh, I'm changing it too. It's not the one that I picked originally.
Okay.
If you could go back in time, back to the Tianna who always knew she was going to be a mama and that it was going to be this fairy tale ending and it was going to go exactly how you planned, if you could go back to her and you could instill something within her, you can't tell her what your journey is going to look like. You can't give her any hints or any clues, but you can plant something there to carry her through your journey. What do you think you would instill?
I think that I would instill in her the power of self actualization when it comes to your visions.
Mm,
That I would tell her that she has to have so much self trust that no matter what her five senses tells her, she holds on to the vision that she has. And that as long as she is able to hold on to the vision in her mind, no matter how long it takes, because it's taken me some time to get here, um, she will self actualize that vision. And that nothing in this world was created without first being held in someone's mind first.
mm-hmm.
And the law of relativity tells us what's possible for someone else is possible for you. So with that knowledge, you know that you have the power to create whatever you set your mind to, as long as you can hold that vision and hold on to the faith the size of a mustard seed. It is yours.
That is beautiful. And the beautiful thing about that question is I've never got the same answer twice. And I've done this over 100 times and I've never got the same answer twice. So I love it. I want to thank you again so much. Your passion and your joy and your love just radiate. And I'm so excited to share this with my listeners. And I'm just grateful for you. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure, such a joy. I need to listen back to this episode because this is really good.
What a powerful and heartfelt conversation. Thank you, Tianna. Your story is a testament to the strength, resilience, and love that define motherhood, even in the face of loss and other similar challenges. If Tianna's journey resonated with you, I encourage you to share this episode with someone who may need to hear it. You can keep up with us on Quiet Connection by following us on Facebook, Instagram, RedNote, YouTube, and Threads at Quiet Connection Podcast. You can also find us on Blue Sky at Quiet Connection Pod. You can help our community grow by leaving us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, and consider sharing our episodes on social media. Be sure to check out our Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee accounts to support our mission and get exclusive access to bonus episodes and other goodies. To share your personal journey, you can contact us through our website at quietconnectionpodcast.com or by email at quietconnectionppmh@gmail.com. Join us next time when another story is told and you realize you are not alone. I see you. Motherhood's messiest moments, we're airing them out.
Odd Moms on Call is the podcast where a no BS mom squad tackles parenting, politics, and everything in between.
It's like venting to your besties, but with mics.
Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or Buzzsprout and grab a seat at the table.